I should probably see here.
That felt like bait. That felt planned.
No, it wasn't.
You're like, all right, she was an amazing woman.
No, you've never. You don't know what that is?
I mean, it sounded like Trump. I recognize it, but I
Yeah,
don't know what soundbite
I
it
was
is.
gonna send it. I'll send it to you right now. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. No, I was like looking up because like I looked at the card yesterday morning and just kind of like went through it in my head, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I got excited for a certain fight, and then I just found out that it got canceled. So I was gonna make a meme about it. Like I can't believe it got canceled. So I was gonna say I was gonna send that to you. You ever like I just when you hear that he fucking the Guram fights canceled. I'm just hearing this for the first time, and then his hand.
Let me
Fucking
go.
guy's a fucking crazy fucking.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one before. Dude, Guram, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was like, you know what? Let me check it again
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to come out being like, ooh, because that's the only, honestly, I don't. Kaikar France is great. I think it's gonna be a good fight, but
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited to see this fight for like the last 2 weeks. So I'm kind of sad now.
Yeah,
you're just you're just telling me this. I can't do the way he does his gay little hands.
yeah, Guram Kutaradze. I don't think he's made it back in the cage since
This guy, he had his last fight
2022.
got canceled, right?
Uh, he fought Demir Ismagulov
Well, that
to
was my one of my favorite fights I've ever seen in my entire life. That's one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
So it's like, damn.
Yeah, he has two split decisions in the UFC. One win, one loss to Gamrot and Demir Ismagulov.
He trains in Sweden, right? He's
Yes.
like one of those boys.
Yeah, he's a training partner of Hamzat Shemaev.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel so loud. Hold on. Let me lower the gain a little bit. Okay, maybe that's better. Maybe it's my headphones. There we go. How do I sound?
You sound just as good as you did before.
Okay,
To
cool.
me, anyway.
Beautiful. Yeah, so we have ourselves a fight night card, and to which I was ready to give like one and a half breakdowns for
Yeah.
this main event and the Guram fight, and like
Yeah.
you already mentioned,
Now the
Guram
half.
Kutaladze.
But I mean, yeah, that sucks. That was my main event, dude. And I'm not trying to say that to be stupid, but that really was. I mean, and then because the Jim Miller fight got canceled too, right? He stayed on the card. He was supposed to fight Ludwig Klein. He
Yeah,
was gonna kick the shit out of Jim Miller.
yeah, old Jimmy Boy's still on the card though, but he's fighting Jared Gordon
Right,
now.
right, right. Yeah, so see how Jared Gordon can get fucked over again. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Victor Altamirano is pretty good. This is probably going to be a very good card. But
Yeah, I think that it is, but it's one of those where, I mean, if I'm being honest, like I couldn't tell you how many Daniel Pineda fights I've watched.
I do
Don't.
like Damon Blackshear, though. I will say,
Hmm.
I think he's. I mean, not like he's the next best thing, but like for where he's fighting in the card, it's a good one for me. It's a reason to like watch it.
So we'll talk about this main event.
Yeah,
Um, we'll talk about this main event, and then we'll dive into other things and other
yeah.
current events in the world of
Your beard
MMA.
is coming in great, man. You look good.
You know, I just noticed the other day,
Yeah.
while on shrooms, like just how much white hair I have now, like just how salt and pepper it is, and
It looks very good,
it's a
though.
lot,
Let me
man.
tell you.
Like I had just been kind of, I think it's one of those deals where it's like, you know, you see it in the mirror every day, and so you don't really think
Yes.
about it,
Yeah, right, right.
and then you see someone who hasn't seen you in a few years, you know, in person, or maybe
Mm.
even just a year, and they're like, holy crap, Like,
Yeah, you're old as hell.
yeah, you didn't have so much white hair last time, so
That's why I'm like growing out my hair. Everyone's like, dude, get a haircut. It's like I could easily go get a haircut, but I
mhm.
feel like whenever I get a haircut, it like pushes my shit back. And it's just like I don't want to look like that. I see people that like, I'd rather look like this than look like dudes with like a pushed back ass hairline, you know?
Plus,
I'm
I
just like,
mean, what's the name of the guy who's like the save money guy? Like, it's David Ramsey, I think.
oh yeah, the guy that's like, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he would be like. Yeah, I'm not getting a haircut because of him. Because if I could stretch
yeah,
it out and get a haircut every 3 months, saving a lot of
yeah,
money. Um,
yeah.
Look at my tan lines.
Oh wow,
You see my? Oh, there you can see it really good right there. It's
yeah.
from the gloves I wear at work.
Oh shit, that's dude. Did you hear about? I won't probably won't say it on the pod, but your
Oh
former
yeah,
employer.
very very aware.
Yeah, and you know what? Dang, I can't really say anything. I can tell you off mic, but like,
We'll talk
because
about
I
it
told you
after.
I've done work for those people and sold to those people, and yeah. So I mean, I've told you how they are, right? I mean,
Yeah,
remember?
dude. Yeah, we'll.
And it's crazy how, dude. I'm like right about shit. It just takes so long. Like if I wasn't alive in the cell phone age, I feel like I would have been the man because like fucking the shit I say like in a newspaper, it would be like, dang,
Uh huh.
with cell phones and like people in goldfish braid and shit.
Uh huh.
It's just yeah. I
Yeah.
would
No.
be like I would be like Donald Trump if it wasn't for the cell phone, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be just ripping off contractors in New York. Like
Quasimodo
see,
predicted
yeah.
all of this.
Yeah, he sure did. Sung too soon. Oh man.
All right.
But you do look great though. I just wanted to tell the listening audience that
Hey, you're looking pretty damn fine yourself,
hey,
man. Especially
thanks,
since I saw
man.
you in person
Yeah.
at Chu's at Maddie's birthday party. Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
I don't get to see this guy in person
Yeah. Oh
quite
yeah.
enough.
I look like I think you and I both from walking out there look like we were swimming. We were just all like glossy. We look like smoked pulled pork. How like when it's like at, like 120. It's like almost there, dude.
When the coating of rub kind of cracks on the top and you
Yeah.
see that new fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, Riddell, you couldn't pick a spot closer to the parking lot. Make me
Yeah.
walk this deep
Exactly.
into the park.
Right.
Dear gosh. Kai Kara France versus Amir Albazi. Flyweight action in this main event, which means it should be a fun fight.
Mm-hmm.
Even some title implications here. It looks like
Yeah.
Brandon Royval probably has the next shot up against after Pantoja and Brandon Moreno do their thing, and now these guys are probably fighting for the chance to either challenge Brandon Royval. I think that would be a rematch for Kai Kara France, or just kind of getting in line. Either way, this flyweight division and the title, the contendership, picture has plenty of guys there to keep this division busy. I think that Brandon Moreno is going to have his hands full, or like I said, whoever's sitting on top of the throne when these guys get there, because Kai Kara France has had his little opportunities to kind of get his crack at the belt, and has fallen short. Just barely though. He's always been a game in every fight that he's ever been in, and Amir Albazi punches his ticket to a main event for the first time. I believe this is the first time that Amir Albazi has ever been scheduled for 5 rounds. So, great experience for him here. And this is about as close as you can get to a pick 'em. Also,
Yeah. Oh, I
looking
was
at the
just gonna
odds,
say this is a tough one, man.
yeah, at least on Tapology, or the betting odds that they post, both of them are minus 110. So like dead on. Kai Kara France fighting out of City Kickboxing in New Zealand, and Amir Albazi says here training out of Extreme Couture, and fighting out of Iraq, both about the same age, not too much of a difference in height or reach. 5'4" for Kai Kara France, 5'5" for Amir Albazi, 66-inch reach for Kai, 68 for Amir. What do you think is going to be like the key to victory for either guy in this fight? Just like if you're going to really.
If I would say, I would definitely say that for Kai Car fronts, if he can work in some teeps, maybe some body kicks and some leg, like just kind of chop away at the legs, because these guys both have really good car. I mean, if it's just flyweight in general, these guys are going to be able to go for a while. So
Yeah.
I think that the guy that starts putting in the investing in the legs and the body early on is going to be where it's at. And I think if Kai Car friends can really just work off the leg kicks and work off the teeps, and maybe get some elbows in there when Amir tries to dive in and close the distance, then I think that could be a key. But just Kai, of course, all those guys from Shitty Kickboxing got to get their Muay Thai off on it. So
Yeah. Kai Kara France has so many more losses than Amir Albazi, with a record of 24-10 versus, Amir Albazi's like one loss. So I feel like there's a lot of examples to draw from, or, there's a lot of tape, much more tape for Amir Albazi to work off of. And I think that he has to, it would be to his benefit if he goes first and goes early and kind of like earns the respect of Kai Kara France and kind of puts
Good point.
Yeah, and don't let Kai Kara France get too comfortable too early on, because I feel like that's where Kai, gets better. Like once he gets his confidence up, that's when he really starts to get in his flow state, and he might be.
So Tiger Muay Thai guys, dude, they're really like they download it. That's why I said if you do see him teeping and body kicking, he's just reading, engaging distance. So you're 100% on, as if just get on him. Don't let him feel you out. Don't let him feel that range out.
Yeah,
that's a good point, man.
Yeah, and Amir Albazi's striking is good. He's not bad at all. But in this matchup, clearly his bread and butter is going to be his ground control on the ground. If he wants to take Kai Kara down, and I think if he can do that really early, like I said, get him down in the first round and kind of like ride off of that momentum and get on the board early, I think that would be great for him. But he's got to watch out. He's really got to watch out when he's closing that distance. Like you said, I think Kai Kara France is going to be doing a lot to manage that distance. And a teep would be great, I think, there. But I think that it's also going to be tough too, because Kai Kara France has like an 84% takedown defense rating.
Yeah,
like
he's
accuracy.
He's not. No, not a joke. He definitely doesn't want to go to the ground, but he's not scared. And I mean, like you said, Albazi's definitely good, but it's not. He's not like a. It's not like a Mokaev type of like where you kind of got to worry, where just that he's just gonna lay on you like a blanket. This guy, it's gonna be not. I just don't see it being overwhelming takedowns. That he's gonna. It's once it gets down there, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being an overwhelming force. He's not going to be flying at double legs the whole night. So I think if he can keep 4 out of 5 takedowns and get back up, I guess getting back up is the part that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah,
because he is Kai is very diminutive. He's not huge for a flyweight, which a lot of guys, I feel like some of them are. So
yeah,
at least they weigh. They're more of a size bullies when you get down to that weight, or weight bullies, I guess you should say.
That's a good point. I look at Kai and I say that's exactly a flyweight. Like that, he doesn't look like a guy who's really killing himself to get down. He looks like he's really fighting at his appropriate
natural.
weight class. And that being flyweight, man, getting him down and keeping him there is gonna be work, man. Because I mean, he has. Like I had already mentioned, his great takedown defense, and he doesn't just surrender position either. He's a scrambler, but he is. I mean, by way of being a flyweight, just naturally, like just being that small, your body automatically is like, nope, we're getting back up. Like as soon as their back hit, as soon as their shoulders hit the mat, like it's just a fucking cartoonish ball of smoke and limbs, and until they're trying to get back up.
Yeah, he's not real lanky. He's not. It's just like you said, dude, perfect. Like, flyweight. Like, who are some fighters? Sorry to derail it, but like, there are some fighters that just look like, yes, that's yours. Like, oh man, like I guess the like Moldovan boys. Those guys look heavyweight. They look like a heavyweight. Just at least the UFC heavyweight, right?
I would say Muhammad Mokaev. He looks like he's appropriately a flyweight, like no question.
Yeah, like Figueredo, it just did not make sense. It
And
just didn't. It just didn't look right at all.
that guy looked like he was getting down to
Yeah,
like 0.5% body fat. Like it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
insane.
He
I
could barely hold up that Gucci fucking that Gucci satchel that he used to like rock. That thing is like hella hard to get over his neck, dude.
yeah. Um, and for Kai Kara France, I think the keys to victory, like you said, I think are going to be picking his shots, managing distance, not going in until he needs to, you know, and being kind of conservative a little bit with his
Yeah,
output.
I think he's gonna want to get Amir to press.
Hmm.
He's gonna want to get up, score. Like he really won't care what it looks like in the first 2 rounds. He's just gonna want to score and score, not so much effectively for taking away
Hmm.
energy or like damage. I'm sure, which I'm sure. I mean, he'll take a sick 3 piece in a soda to the guy's dome or whatever, but he really does want to just score effectively, make it known, and jump out to a lead. I feel like, and get Amir pressing, and then that's when you're kind of like putting him in that spider's web, and then just really just like luring him in.
Yeah, and hope that Amir really starts to slow down and show the difference. When he gets into the fourth and the fifth round, and 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 see if that really starts to affect his cardio. Like I don't really have any doubts. I'm not worried about Amir having bad cardio, but Kai Kara France has the 5 round experience here. I think even
Yes,
if Kai can get him to like really aggressively like fight for the takedown like the whole
that
first
you just
round,
catch him.
like
Yeah,
just yeah, here, come and try and take me down. And if it's just like a constant like clinch and takedown affair in the first round, like even if Kai is able to get him to fight that fight, and Kai maybe might lose the first round if he's just defending the whole time, but if he makes Amir do that and it doesn't necessarily take any damage in the process, I think you can surrender around just to get him to really kind of try and blow his wad early and get him down and get him huffing and hopefully exhaust that gas tank later on down the road. Who are you picking?
oh, I'm gonna take Kai Kara France 3 rounds to 2.
Me too. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with Kai.
Damn. Yeah. But it's just I think he's hungry. He's like got that mentality. He's got an insane mentality that a lot of fighters should have. I think if you put him in a more, like we said, he's diminutive. If you put him in and not to say he's not athletic or not a freak, I mean, he's a plus athlete all the way across the board
Hmm.
and insanely talented. But he's not one of those super freak guys. You can tell he's worked so hard to get to where he's at.
Yeah.
And it shows. It really does show. And he has a lot of Muay Thai and amateur fights.
Hmm.
So that's really huge for a guy like that. And it's his first 5 round fight, or not his first, but he's going up against a guy who's not been in that position.
Hmm.
He's fought for the title. He's fought everybody. And like you said, it works both ways also because there is more tape on him, but he's also learned a lot more in way crazier high stakes and way crazier high stakes positions and can take from that experience on top of the vast amounts of experience he's had as an amateur and as a Muay Thai fighter. And his training, he has amazing training partners. When you think about City Kickboxing
Yeah.
and Tiger Muay Thai, he's fought with the best in the world. He's picked the brains of the best in the world, and that's the one thing I really like about the guys. There's you can see the difference in the guys that do the Tiger Muay Thai, and that's pretty much their main training focus. Where the guys there's more than a few different different examples of guys that go from City Kickboxing to Tiger Muay Thai. They go from Tiger Muay Thai because it's just so many crazy guys. You can train all freaking day long, and it's world class training partners. And then go back to a Eugene Behrman who can put it all together for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge plus for him.
Yeah. I hear that they have a really well stocked juice bar there at Tiger
I,
Muay Thai also.
yeah, well, it's a resort. I've looked into this, dude. I would love to like. It sounds hella weird though. So like, this is the first time I've said it out loud. So pause ahead of time. But like we've talked about, like my daughter enjoys Muay Thai, right?
Yeah.
And so I would be, man, like maybe if she really gets into it these next 2 or 3 years, then just, hey, let's go, let's take the family, let's go to Thailand, and but it's like, imagine telling someone like, I'm going to take my daughter to Thailand. They'd just be like, what for what, dude? And like a kickboxing resort, and they'd just be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But like, I've watched hella videos on it, and it looks pretty. They have a family like atmosphere too, from what I understand and stuff. So it's like, have you seen that Great Wolf Lodge? Have you seen have you seen what that is? That like indoor. They have like, from what I understand, they have like it's like a Thailand version of that, and then there's just like savage ass motherfuckers doing like Enter the Dragon training like on the other side, where it's like all like, so that'd be pretty cool. But like, it's kind of hard to say out loud.
No, I was just about to say, if you want your instant feedback, that doesn't strike me as incredibly weird at all. But I'm in that world, you know.
Yeah,
we,
see what I'm saying? You would know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I just go, dude, my daughter's been doing Muay Thai for 4 or 5 years. I would love to take her to Tiger Muay Thai. Just, me, her, and then the family. Her and I maybe go train in the morning. See if we can, catch some of the the greatest Muay Thai practitioners in the world. Yeah. Maybe even go to Lumpini Stadium or something. And it would just be a crazy cultural experience that she would never have, or anyone never has. But then you just talk to, if I'm at like Whole Foods and someone's like, well, what are you doing this summer? I'm taking my 12-year-old daughter to Thailand. And just be like, oh, cool.
That's, that would be them projecting. Because it's like,
right,
oh, like,
exactly.
Is that
yes.
all you think about when you hear Thailand? What do you think is
yeah,
going on?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, but like, that's what I guess it's like the look of a guy, just because I say that because we used to go to school with this dude, and he's like, he doesn't have kids or anything, and he's like, he like coaches like basketball and like and it's like, dude, you don't have kids even. and then like we're talking to him because he was coaching a softball team and my daughter plays softball. I was like, dude, you don't have kids, like why? And you weren't even good at baseball or anything, like what? And then because I can see it was like, someone's like really good at baseball, it's like, dude, share your gift, dude. I mean, you have to. But like, he didn't even play in high school baseball. I remember he sucked in Little League when we were kids, and like now he's a coach. He's the coach of the fucking and I'm just like, what the hell? And so
suspect.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And then
any chance he listens to this podcast?
I don't care, dude. Fuck, you know who you are. I mean, the world has to know. And so. And then I'm sitting there, and then he's telling the story at the end of that pizza or whatever, and it's like All-Stars now. So he's like, he was there at the All-Star practice, but he wasn't coaching. Thank God, because my daughter's going out for All-Stars. And then he was telling, I just overheard, he like said hello to me, and then went and sat down, and I overheard him say like, yeah, that he's been to Thailand, the Philippines, and he's been like the Pacific Rim and shit.
All the hot spots.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, and then everyone's like, that's so great, like tropical. He's like, yeah, in the winter. And I just, and like, he even was talking about like typhoon season and shit. And it's just like, dang, bro, like, you know a lot about that area. Like, God damn.
I bet
single as hell.
I bet he knows a little bit of the language that he's not willing to demonstrate for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you picked
he
up
can
some
barter.
Of the dialect. Yeah.
You see him at a farmer's market, and there's like a tie, and he's like bartering really well. Like, he knows how to like really get a good deal off the ties. It's like, dang, okay.
These people, they all speak money.
Anyways, that's a huge derailment, but
it's all good. Hey, we haven't mentioned or brought up the fact that we took a week off because of technical difficulties. So that's good, one thing.
It wasn't the best. I mean, if there was you and Mike did a hell of a fucking job on those two pods, by the way. They're really, really good. I listened to both of them. They're really good. You guys do a great job.
You listened. Thanks,
of
dude.
course. Well, yeah, of course I do.
I mean, I wouldn't judge you if you didn't. I wasn't. No, I honestly wasn't expecting like a really. Oh, I guess I didn't really think so much about it. Like, oh, is Brandon gonna listen?
Sure.
But I guess if somebody had asked me, like, do you think Brandon's gonna listen? I'd probably be like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I wouldn't be confident either way.
Well, I just don't like to like when I'm at work. I don't like to like sit within my own thoughts. So I just like. if I can hear, because I'll sometimes listen back to our shit too sometimes,
Yeah.
just to see what it sounds like. So, and and it's been slow for podcasts too, anyway. So, why not? Of course. And it's one that I'm not on, so it's not creepy, and it helps like the view count. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's true. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but the first episode of
I like the music, by the way, on the second one though. It was great.
Mike picked some sweet little jazz hop. The first episode of the I got to remember, I'm calling it the WMMA Fight Plug. Has, I think it might now have the second most views on our channel of
that's
any
great.
episode. Yeah. So I was telling Mike, I think we've tapped into the simp network. We're singing with the simp siren or something, because I'm not really sure. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not really sure where that came from. But there's also the potential that Mike listened to it like a million times himself or something too.
Yeah,
that's
no, I mean, it definitely deserved more views than it gets, but than it got. So you guys did great. Yeah, you did awesome.
Do you, since we weren't able to record our episode last week, it's jumping back a bit far, but do you want to go back and kind of touch on some of those results? Anthony Hernandez and Edmund Shabazian, Joaquin Buckley, Andre Fialho.
You got to feel that Joaquin Buckley, and we've talked about Fialho a lot on this pod, just for being an active guy and like not being afraid, but you should probably take a break there.
Yeah.
Like take a beat, huh? Relax. Buckley's like, that's what Joaquin Buckley does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shabazian, you're just like, what the fuck? That's so weird. It makes sense though, but whenever I think, like, I always think when I think of the guys with that last name for some reason. The Armenian dudes, I always think of Ronda's crew, so it's like, that's he would. But like he was, right? Didn't he train there for like quick second?
Yeah,
I think he's moved on.
I believe he's in Vegas now. Yeah, he's at Extreme Couture now. Still managed by Ronda, from my understanding, but I don't believe he's involved with Edmund Tarverian or any of the guys from.
Just whenever I hear Edmund, it's just like, dang. That's not good. I don't like that.
And some of his shortcomings really put on display, put under a microscope here.
Yeah.
Because in the first round, he still looked every bit like the prospect, like that really good striker that he was hyped up to be.
Yeah, he wasn't losing, like, it wasn't like a blown out of nowhere, just getting this shit pushed in, but it got bad real quick.
Yeah, but come the second round, the steam wasn't there anymore, and a lot of that credit to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. It's not like it's not like the wheels just fell off for no reason. But Anthony Hernandez is really showing us like that initial like shocker, upset submission of Rodolfo Vieira wasn't. Shouldn't have been as much of a shock, because the guy is
overlooked.
Really good control, and man, he looked like he was going with a grappling dummy at some points. Like he was just able to do whatever he wanted with Ed. I mean, aside from actually submitting him, he was getting him in a lot of like really bad looking positions, and getting that like modified like side guillotine like attempt, and he kept trying that, and Edmund just had nothing for him anymore.
It's just always a red flag when the wheels fall off that way, and there's just it's just like, is that a mental thing? And if it's the type of, is that guy in his own head, like to the point where like it's just on, not maybe the yips, like have you ever seen that in like in like Major League or NBA, when guys just get the yip so bad they can't get out of their own head, and like a second baseman is trying to like make a simple throw to first and he just can't do it. There's something in their head. There's like a block. Do you think Edmund has something like that?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I have that in regards to podcasting. I think as soon as I hit record and we start podcasting,
did you just do that again right now?
My abilities just Just no.
I was like, don't fucking tell me you did that again. You just see the fucking screen, dude. I did it, and then like now my computer's broken.
I would be so embarrassed. No,
Yeah.
we're good on this episode. I was just making a joke that
Oh.
I'm secretly like the best podcaster ever until we start podcasting.
Until we start podcasting,
Then I get the yips.
like the podcast in your head in the shower when you're like talking to like your accoutrement in there. You're like, you're the man.
Yeah, so Anthony Hernandez, he does get the finish though. He puts him away at 101 of round 3 via KO TKO, and yeah, man, I'm excited to see where he goes next. Anthony Hernandez is starting to become an actual factor at the this middleweight division. To me, I think it's a deal where it's, he was flying under my radar. I wasn't giving him enough credit, but he's really showing that, as far as like his grappling goes, setting himself apart from the rest of the division, not just in the wins that he's accumulating, but in the way that he's doing it, he's looking really good. And Edmund, like, you were talking about the yips. I mean, we could speculate all day about like what happened there with Edmund.
Yeah, and I made a mistake. I miss in my memory. Sorry to cut you off, but it was thinking the take I had in my head was Michael Johnson didn't look out of it until he got knocked the fuck out all crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was, because Johnson looked like he was in. I remember watching like, oh, he's yes, ooh, and it was like, oh fuck, like God,
That Coctagon meme you shared.
Those guys do it right. We gotta talk to those boys because those guys do it right, dude.
Shout out to the guys who run the Coctagon.
Coctagon, dude. Yeah, and it's such an easy name, but it's good.
Getting back to Edmund, I think I'm looking at his record now, and he is 1-4 going back to 2020. Man, the rough look. He got that win over Dalcha Lungiambula back in 2022. Before that, he dropped. He's lost fights against Anthony Hernandez now, Nasruddin Imavov, Jack Hernansson, and Derek Brunson, which are all very quality names at middleweight. Now that I'm looking at it, they really threw him in there with like the middleweight, like I would say like the 10 to 15 range. For
Right.
as much of a like prospect as he was labeled as, like they didn't really take it slow with him. Let's see. Yeah, he was only he had some contender series fight, and he was on the Ultimate Fighter finale. He got 4 decent matchups before they threw him in there with Derek Brunson. He fought Brad Tavares, Jack Marshman, Charles Bird, and Darren Stewart. So
Yeah.
they didn't exactly throw him to the wolves, but I think what might have been the case was, I couldn't name too many of the people who were training with Edmund Tarvarian, aside
Right.
from Ronda,
Yeah.
and it really sounds like it was one of those gyms where they got their golden goose, and the rest of the guys just aren't getting the kind of work that they need to be great. And that might have been what was going on there with Edmund. But I think, it was a tough look for him. But now that he's at Extreme Couture, if he still sticks it out there and works on the things he needs to, I think he'll get better. I think he'll remain a factor at this middleweight division. Moving on.
Chase Hooper, what the fuck? Okay, the motherfucker wants to start punching people. Okay, that's fine.
What do you
the
mean?
hell was that? Chase Hooper was fucking throwing from fucking chingasos. He fucking was actually fucking throwing his hands.
I didn't see that one. I didn't watch it.
Oh shit, my bad.
It's all good.
That's just one that like jumped off the page for me. I actually watched that guy because I wanted sometimes you like catch him and then you see how hard Dana pushes a guy and you're like, why? And like, so I put an eye on people like that because you almost, nothing against Chase Hooper. He seems like a fucking great guy, but at the same time, it's like, I would like him to lose because he's like one of Dana's guys.
Yeah. It's one of those. Yeah, he was the Raul Rosas Jr. before Raul Rosas Jr.
Right.
No, we're not going to turn this into, or we're not going to delve too much into the WMMA since we have a dedicated podcast for that now. But Did you watch any of the 4 WMMA fights? And who's
Natalia Silva was amazing.
That's what I
I
was going to
agree
get
with both
to.
of you guys. Wow.
Yeah,
So nice.
I
So
thought.
nice. That's amazing. In any, it doesn't matter what gender you're doing.
Yeah,
You can strike like that. You can like be laser accurate with what you're doing. And like that, the technique, we put it all together. Amazing.
yeah, man. She
Very
really won the
impressive.
night. I think she showed out. For anybody who watched the entire card, you had to really be impressed by her performance there early on, and gets the first round finish over Victoria Leonardo. Looks like they're slow rolling her a little bit, but very, very, very excited to see when she gets back in there to do more work, because she took virtually no damage in this fight. So I mean, hopefully she'll be in there sooner than later, and we get to see her work her magic again. That should be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, news. Let's kind of dive in and see what current events there are. And by this, I mean I have nothing ready, and I'm scrolling
Yeah,
the
no,
news
it's all
section of
good.
Tapology. Obviously, there's been a lot of drama with Dana and Aljamain regarding the booking of the O'Malley fight for UFC 2. Was it 292? But they want him to fight in Boston, which would be about 3 months after he defended his title against Henry Cejudo. Dana just kind of burying another one of his champions, saying he doesn't want it, he's not ready to go, he can't get out of his own way. I think this. I mean, he's not. That's nothing new for Dana. And it's going to sound biased for me because I'm not a fan of Dana by any means, but I think people are really starting to kind of get tired of this one particularly, which is a surprise because Aljamain Sterling wasn't a fan favorite before this either, and he's still not. But I think people are kind of like, to give some credit to the MMA fan base, I think they're looking at this and being like, well, I mean, he fought Henry Cejudo, and he's,
Yeah,
he
exactly.
has, sounds
And
like
he's
he's got
down to
a,
fight your boy. He's down. He's not like ducking him.
yeah,
That's another one of Dana's boys. So it's like
yeah.
he's down. What do you want to do?
It
I
sounds like he
like
has
it.
a bicep injury, and he just wants to
Yeah,
get it checked out and make sure he's going to be good to go. And Dana's
yeah,
already threatening to book an interim title fight and stuff. And it's
yeah.
like, what are
It's
we
a
doing,
tactic.
man?
It's got to be a tactic. It's got to be a money thing. I
Yeah,
guarantee you, it's a money thing. How do you tell me it's a money thing without telling me it's a money thing? Because I'm sure Dane is probably walking in ahead of this and saying, "We're not going to give you this huge piece of the pay-per-views because," and he's going to give some crazy metrics about Sugar's streaming and podcasting career that comes into it, which Alderaan has his own. It's not anywhere close to what like Sugar Sean pulls in views wise, and what he'll be able to do as far as like go promotion, but I mean, because Sugar he has so many avenues to promote, which is good for him. I mean, fuck, dude, that's that does not hurt, and that's nothing against him. But I guarantee you, Dana came with a wonky ass split on like maybe pay per view buys or like maybe Sean was getting paid a little too close to what Aljamain was, and Aljamain just asked for some astronomically high amount, or not. I mean, I guess relative to what the what the UFC will pay,
yeah.
and I guarantee you this is just a tactic to really like play hardball.
Looking at the card right now, so the date for 292 is August 19th. And the only fights, at least this, on Tapology, that are booked so far for that card are Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, Weili Zhang, Amanda Lemos, and Cody Garbrandt versus Mario Batista. I'm kind of wondering if it's a deal where they're just worried that they don't have enough star power for that card right now.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have this Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley title fight, then they're really kind of putting everything on Weili Zhang versus Amanda Lemos, and it seems like Dana doesn't want to just let that be the torchbearer of this card.
Because of the promotion, I guess in China, it's. I wonder how much of the Chinese media will allow all of the avenues that the UFC get, because everybody talks about the UFC and pay per view buys being the end all be all, but like we were just talking about with Sugar, they do have a crazy YouTube account.
Mm-hmm.
They do have crazy Instagram like and social media outreach.
Yeah.
So they can get a lot of ad money off of that too. Those embeddeds do a lot off ads.
Mhm.
Those, like, people like those, and it's really hard to sell one of those in a communist country. Not to talk, but it's very filtered what you get. They're only going to want to do media with Chinese media outlets for Wei Li. In the United States, she doesn't speak like a great amount of English, so it's kind of hard to. And Lemos is the same way. It's not like Lemos is going to be fucking Chael Sonnen out there carrying the whole fucking thing. So it's just like, dang, and then you got O'Malley and Sugar, who are O'Malley and Sugar. You got O'Malley and Aljamain who can really work not just promotion, but they could probably squeeze 2, maybe even 3 pre-fight press conferences out of those guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good point about Wei Li and Amanda Lemos, that they would be stuck with the main event where both participants don't speak any English at all. So no, it would be a tough look.
It's on the treadmill and like watching hella fucking subtitles, I can't. So like I just won't watch them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's understandable too, especially if you're working out. Like I've tried to do that before, where not to like change the subject or the pod to so much, but like when you like trying to find something to watch.
Do the like skeptical weenie dog river. Like I ordered a salad. I had to throw it like when I'm on the trip. I ordered a salad, but they gave me 2 bags of chips.
Oh my gosh. Man,
there's no veggies in the sandwich at all.
Yeah, the last time I was on a wind bike or Airdyne or whatever, and looking for something to watch, like put my phone on the thing in front of me. If it's something that I have to be watching intently and not just like listening to, it's kind of pointless. Like I can't focus on it. Like I'm still too fat to be able to successfully watch a TV show and be like
not
into
fall
it.
Off.
It's listening only for me.
Yeah.
So a little fed up with Dana's antics and booking this fight, and
he's
it
a
really
Trump
sucks.
guy though. Like he's doing a bad Donald Trump. And Trump did that. It's just like he's gonna say a bunch of wild shit. He's gonna say liable, just out of bounds shit. But at the same time,
it's the playbook. It's his playbook for sure.
And then he's banking on people are just gonna forget. So in the moment, it's for as shitty as it does serve a purpose to him, because he's able to talk and what his words carry a lot, especially with media now, clicks and everything. If he can really get out in front of that narrative, then he can basically squeeze these guys for hundreds of thousands of dollars when it comes to in the moment. And then at the like, hey Dana, you're markedly wrong. There's tons of tape and quotes of you just being wrong. And so what do you got to say about it? He's like, I don't give a fuck, but it saves him money in the negotiating table. I guarantee you.
Dana, you wouldn't let Francis Ngannou compete in boxing. We don't do freak show fights around here. Like 3 days later, hey Tyson Fury, if you want to fight with John Jones, give me a call.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not Aljamain Sterling's fault that this UFC 292 card doesn't have too much drawing power yet. But yeah, he has to face the to just get all the ire of Dana White. But I think I hope he's fine physically. I hope that bicep injury that he was concerned about isn't too serious. Even then, even if it was, I think he's going to be such a heavy favorite against Sean O'Malley. Stylistically, it's just such a bad matchup for Sean. I really do think there's a possibility that we see Aljamain take his back and get him out of there, maybe in the second round early on, man, because his control is just too good. And to Sean O'Malley's credit, his striking is great. I think if he's able to keep it standing with Aljamain, it could be an interesting fight. But I just think that Sean O'Malley, I think one thing that's going to work against him going into this fight is that he's just not in there and doing it often enough. Like Sean O'Malley,
and not even that against good fighters. Like Peter Yan, great dude,
great win, great
win. But where else were we? So I mean, he's kind of the victim of his own tactics, his own strategy coming up to where, I mean, there's not, like you were saying with Kaikar France, a lot of tape there because he fought a lot of fucking guys all the way up to the top. So now, who's your sugar really fought?
Julian Paiva.
Yeah, you broke
was,
your foot on fucking Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, he was doing not very well against Pedro Munoz, if memory serves me well. I don't 100% remember that, but then
he was doing a lot of that dribble between the legs, jab shit, from what I remember.
He beat the brakes off of Chris Moutinho. That's a really big, high level UFC win there. So Sean O'Malley is definitely a little bit of an eye test fighter because I do think that his striking is something pretty special.
Yes,
but yeah,
absolutely.
the UFC put him on the shelf for a little bit too long. Holding on to that blue chip title contender. Especially once he got that win over Peter Yan. Like after that, there was like, no, we're not going to risk sending him out there and having him potentially lose against any of these other bantamweight contenders. When he got that win with Peter Yan, it was like, nope, we are holding on to this guy till we work him into a title fight. And let's see, when was 2022. So it will be, by the time they get in there, it'll be 10 months since between fights for Sean O'Malley. So not massive, but his output in terms of how often he fights is definitely slowed down dramatically. And
it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm going to call it if I can right now. I really do think that Aljamain really puts a whooping on O'Malley. Not so much like a stand and bang whooping, like just walk him down. I do think he's just going to throw him around the cage a little bit and really wear him to a nub, and it's going to be an embarrassing thing. And it's going to be another 10 to year layoff for Sean. It's going to be like, where the fuck are we, dude?
Any plans to watch the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter?
Yes, I was going to do it after this, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it's on tonight.
Yeah, tonight's the first episode, or when we're recording this anyway.
Yeah. Huh. I think I'm really contemplating or considering watching The Ultimate Fighter just so that we can have something to talk about on this program because we
talked about like doing shorts, like YouTube shorts. Maybe we can because it's going to be so topical. So it's going to be and it's going to be able to I think get views if you just put Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler into an algorithm. It'll just fucking go crazy. So we get 13 fucking.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's one of those situations right now. Obviously Conor McGregor, if you find some excuse to put that in your video hashtags, that's going to get you more traction. And I think it's
look
really
at the Mac
smart.
Life. Don't they just make fucking whole ass fucking around following that guy around saying wild shit?
Yeah, it's it reminds me of bjpen.com or
bjpen.com did some at one point they were legit, dude. They were like Okamoto and fucking of their day. bjpen.com, whoever, that would be interesting, a documentary like that. Napoleon Bonaparte guy should do one of those, the rise and fall of bjpen.com.
Yeah, that would be cool. But it's true. And until you mentioned it just now, because I was definitely considering okay, I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter, but I should watch this season because when we were doing a podcast, it would be good to cover. But we're not going to have too many opportunities where Conor McGregor is going to be on network television. Is it considered network television? I have no idea. But he's going to be on TV, right? Every week for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 weeks.
You gotta kind of maybe get our beaks wet a little bit.
Absolutely. All right, we're doing shorts. We're watching The Ultimate Fighter, so stay tuned for all of our coverage of recapping. I will be
breaking down the watch Conor is wearing.
Now, it's going to be tough for us to, I guess. Yeah, I guess in the process of recapping, we'll also be
we're just gotta
breaking
hope
down the next episode.
We all know what we wanted to talk about, and who we want him to reference. We'll just leave it at that. And hopefully that happens so that we can talk about it.
It's certainly going to have to be very Connor and Chandler centric, because I couldn't name a single fighter who's competing or who's in the house, the tough house this year or this
and
season.
I guess Connor kicked a few guys off, right?
I think that was a joke.
Was
but
it?
They have been filming, so maybe he did. But I remember when he posted that Simpsons meme where it was just like a copy pasta, and he's like, "Now for my favorite part, the cuts."
Yeah, great hustle out there. Your cut.
Yeah. So we'll be covering that. What else is new in the world of MMA?
Hamzat and who is it? Hamzat's fighting Usman, correct?
Kamaru Usman. I don't know that fight is officially booked, right? But that's the heavy rumor that they're agreed to fight each other, and it sounds like if they do that fight will be happening in Abu Dhabi.
It has to, from what a lot of people are saying, as far as the people he associates with, and making it hard to travel in the United States if you want to associate with those people.
Yeah, and if Dana wants to have certain guests ringside and just pretend, who's this guy? I don't know anything about him. He's just one of Hamzat's people. Is that a fight you like for Hamzat? Or is that a fight you like for Usman?
I like it. I just want to see Hamzat fight, so I don't really care.
Yeah, a little bit of the same, like what we were talking about with the Sean O'Malley thing, where it's like he's so popular that you guys are trying to be too careful with him, and you guys are just leaving him on the shelf for too long. Like, let's get him in there and fight.
But his skill set isn't as perishable and isn't as needy of quality reps as Sugar's is. Because I guarantee you this guy can probably, if it was around his weight class, could probably get into a wrestling tournament and do pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he probably hasn't wrestled in a long time. And he's just going to remember. And if Usman sparks him, he's going to go, I can still wrestle. And Usman's a very good wrestler, but we know it's more of a it's more of we know the wrestling that Hamzat does, and it's way better suited for, especially where Usman's career is now anyway.
I would argue that Usman isn't or doesn't have the knees to wrestle like
he does not want. Dude, you do not want Hamzat Chimaev diving at your knees, dude. Yeah. That's gonna be that would be a crazy feeling. Like when you're like, have you ever? There's that one that goes out by Orange Cove, like you're part of the neighborhood. That hill that goes to Cutler. You know which one I'm talking about? Like
I've never heard of the towns that you're mentioning, but
so. There's like a crazy ass hill, and you just drive up it real fast at like 65, and then you're going down, and you're like nuts raised into your stomach. That's got to be how it feels if you have fucked up knees, and that dog face is like going straight at your freaking knees, dude. That must be insane.
Do you hope that fight happens at middleweight or welterweight?
I hope it happens at middleweight.
Me too. Because I think that's where Khamzat's future is. I think it's really weird, and I don't think that the UFC trusts him to cut down to welterweight again after the fiasco last time with the Nate Diaz fight. So it's a weird one, man. I just want. Yeah, I really wish they would have just sent him to middleweight, and I really wish they would have been able to make that Paulo Costa fight with Khamzat. Yeah. I mean, initially that wasn't necessarily a fight that I thought made very much sense. I'm very surprised that a lot of people think that Paulo Costa is a live dog in that fight. It seems like that confused the heck out of me. I know, I get it. Like Paulo Costa looks good getting off the bus. The man's a unit. He is jacked, and he drinks his secret juices. But either way, though, I do think the build up to that fight is more intriguing than the actual fight itself, because they've already had run-ins in the past, and I think that I don't mean to slam dunk on Paulo Costa so much, but I do think that he's a bit of a promotional darling, and that would be great. Like that would be a fantastic build up to that fight. But
yeah,
Paulo Costa, I don't know if we talked about this on the pod, but Obviously, the last time we recorded, we talked about all of those fights that were announced and stuff. Paulo Costa was booked against Ikram Aliskerov. He's since come out and said that he's never heard of that fight. Like, it was exactly the Dana playbook, which is like, I'm just going to announce a bunch of fights without even telling the fighters and kind of pressure them into accepting these fights. What do you think about the idea? I'm starting to think that maybe they made one of those deals with Paulo Costa, kind of like what they were offering Francis Ngannou, because Dana went on and on about how the offer that they made Francis Ngannou before he left, he would have been the highest paid heavyweight in the history of the sport and in the UFC and all of that. And then we know that his coach came out recently and said, like, they were dangling a big carrot as long as he won. Yeah. But the way that contract was built was that as soon as he loses, his per fight rate goes down significantly. And I'm starting to wonder, and this is all speculation. We don't have any insider info or anything like that, but I'm starting to wonder if they made a similar deal with Paulo Costa, because he came out earlier this year saying, he inked this massive deal and he's now going to be like the highest paid middleweight in the UFC, making like $1 million per fight. It wouldn't shock me if that was by the UFC's design and said, yeah, sure, we'll give you this big deal, and once you lose, that rate goes down, but hey man, bet on yourself. And ever since then, they're just trying to book him against somebody who's going to hand him that L so that his pay rate
give him that Nate Diaz Viking funeral.
Yeah, because as soon as that deal with him went through, alleged deal. I don't think anyone on the UFC side has really confirmed the kind of numbers that Paulo Costa was touting that he's going to be making. But as soon as that deal was made, they were throwing his name in there with Khamzat Chimaev and now Ikram Aliskerov. It's like, and it's the same playbook. They were using the same language as with the Francis Ngannou thing. And I think if that was the deal, not to turn this into a segment about Francis either, but like, when you're Francis and you're offered that much, and then your first fight is John Jones, and if you take an L, your pay goes down significantly. Like, and not even in the show pay structure where it's like your show money and your win money or anything like that. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty peculiar.
If it's I guess he left, so Francis took off, and he put his money where his mouth was, so he did what he did, but. For me, like the fighter pay thing, we've talked about it so much. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like these guys keep fucking signing though, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, because when we started this pod, that was like a huge thing. We brought it up pretty much every fucking, but I think now that we've been following, it's like, they keep signing though. They keep doing it. So like, it must be something to it.
Yeah. And to parrot a little bit of what a lot of other people in the MMA media space have said, and I only say parrot because it's like, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, these are my initial thoughts, but I think a lot of people in this space have done the same thing and have kind of like advocated for better fighter pay for a while now. And you see, the first time that the UFC sold to WME, IMG or whatever it was, Endeavor, for $4 billion, like that was the time that the fighters should have like understood, like, oh, there's a lot more fucking money in this thing than we thought, and that's when they should have stepped up and done something, and they didn't. and then now, most recently with the merger with the WWE or whatever their network is, and now it's up to 12 billion, and still it's mum from the fighters.
Because the baseball players, a lot of people talk shit like, man, the baseball players, they're fully guaranteed and amazing travel and everything else. They like, a lot of people don't realize, like 80s, 90s, they fucking did a strike. Like they had to bring in like replacement ass motherfuckers. Yeah. Like they at least talked about it.
I'm all like, yeah, like I know what you're talking about. Like,
no, but like in the 80s and 90s, they had player strikes, and like everyone just said we're not playing. Like they cut, like a World Series was gone because of it. A lot of players at the end of their careers were pissed, but they went through it now, and they really called those motherfuckers bluffs out.
Yeah,
and so now they're in a really good position because they cut half a year and a half. I think if you put all together, like it was almost 2 years worth of games, and like at least in the last like 40, 50 years, it's a much older sport than, MMA, but they really took time off and said, we're not going to play. And they forced the owners to come in and work out better deals with better pay structures for these guys. Now they do get screwed. You do get screwed on the back end as far as like in AAA and like players getting exploited for like time, like usage time, I think it's called, or something like that. But you really have to put your money where your mouth is if you're going to unionize and do it for the betterment of the sport.
Yeah.
As for the future, like seeing 100 years down the road, where I mean, look at Jared Gordon just grabbed a fight. Like these guys, they screw Jared Gordon. We can honestly say they've really fucked Jared Gordon over.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll fight in a couple days. I'll do it. So it's like you can't really.
Yeah.
Which one is it, guys?
Yeah, it seems a lot more feasible to do do like a strike and fight to unionize when you have like teams, and it's like, okay, we have these 30, 40 guys or whatever, we're all this team, and they're all easy to galvanize and get together on this deal. But it's the UFC. It's one of those deals where it's like, if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to fight, if you think you're going to step aside and be like, no, we're going on strike, Dana White's just going to sign a bunch of bums off the street and he'll put them in the octagon, and people will watch because a lot of people are tuning in for the brand, to watch the UFC above all else, and people are becoming more vocal about it and saying like, oh, these cards are getting thin and are, there's not enough talent on them and they're just kind of chugging, putting just whatever on week in, week out. But we're still tuning in.
I've come around on that though. I go back and forth because it's like, well, I remember watching UFC on a good month twice. I literally, like, there's some of them like, I can't watch these. Like, let me see my children, please, on a Saturday. like the other one that was in the morning. It's like I was making pancakes and fucking watching UFC. It's like I need to find something else to do with my life.
And I believe, because even me, who I don't have a wife or kids or anything like that. Like all my free time is just that, all my time. And even then, sometimes I'm like, yo, like, let me have a life. I don't want to give every Saturday to the UFC, but I know I record this podcast, so I kind of have to now.
Yeah, same.
But I can only imagine what it's like for you, and for other people who have other obligations and are expected to have a social life and stuff. But hey, anyways, I think basically what we're implying is that we're not going to go so hard in the paint for fighter pay if the fighters won't do it themselves to at least attempt.
They always seem to do it after they lose, or when they're like on a 2-3 slide, or when they're real vulnerable is when they get real vocal.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because you notice Alexander Volkanovski really hasn't said anything about it.
No.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He really could give a fuck less. Israel Adesanya just hasn't had a hard time with it, feeling pretty good about it. And I get that that's like top tier one out of hundreds of guys. But at the same time, it's like, it always seems like it's the dude who, is in the Cody Garbrandt section of the fucking card who really wants to be like, bro, what the fuck, guys, this is messed up, right? It's like, oh, okay.
That's a good point. And those are the guys that you need to kind of force change. You need those guys on board, and they're not willing to lose time in their competitive prime while they're at the top of the mountain and be like, no, we're going to fight for this. And I think you need somebody who really has a plan to just kind of like sit them down and explain how things can be different, and how it wouldn't necessarily be like a death blow to them in their career. It would just be like, you got to hold on tight because they're going to fight it very, very hard. But in the end, when you're looking at a 50% revenue split of every pay-per-view that you're on or something like that, you will understand how much more money you'll be making. And for me right now, it's one of those deals where I'm not so much enraged about the fighters not wanting to get paid more, because we've been saying, they're not fighting for it. It's just that there is so much money in this game still, and it's all going directly to the top, and it's like, it's annoying. It's like, yo, guys, that's your money, but it is what it is.
Whatever. Yeah. Like I said, we've talked about it as far as like WMA and MMA being such a young sport and evolving like on the fly, like in front of our eyes, where we can go back. Like same point I made the baseball's so old, you can go back to like the 60s, 70s and say like how it was before and what it is now, and you can see it. Like you can go back catalog, like the fucking sport's changing week to week with us, I feel like sometimes.
Yeah, because I think the newest numbers disclosed was that the fighters, the UFC fighters, are making about 13% of the revenue or the profits, yearly. So it's like, dude, I think, not that, like I said, not that we're going to beat this dead horse continually, but I as that number continues to shrink, that's something that I definitely want to keep under a microscope and keep bringing up just to see where it will stop. And like, will it stop at 11%, 10%, lower? Are they eventually gonna trick the fighters into fighting for free? It's an opportunity of a lifetime, kid. Like, get in there and hustle for it. You want to be a legend?
If you hold this can of Monster, we'll think about it.
Yeah, your influence will grow exponentially. All right, man. We managed to squeeze an hour out of what we had to work with. I think unless there's anything else that you wanted to bring up or talk about.
No, that was it. That was it.
Yeah. Good episode. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good to be back.
Coming back. Hope you weren't so mad at me for.
Oh no, dude, not at all. No, not at all, man. Hell no. How can I be mad at you, dude? There's no way. What the fuck? I act like I'm on the other side, like fucking pulling the chain all hard for it either. Like, nah, dude, I'm not. So it's like there's nothing I can do.
I get. Well, because I guess if I was on the other side, I would be, and we're talking inside baseball here now. I would be like, what's the problem, dude? Like, it worked last week, but why wouldn't it work this week?
I'm so in the camp of like, I could never do what he does. Unless I really, really train. I mean, I'm sure I could, but unless I really put my attention into being able to edit and using the graphics that you put into it, the amazing the amazing way you set up the layout for like the still photos and stuff and the transitions and everything. I could never do that. So like I just don't. I'm just glad to be here, dude. Like, and it looks cool when I'm like talking, because I'll share a moment with you. Like my stepson the other day, he was like, "Oh, where's Brandon?" Because I came over here, and then my girl's like, "Oh, he's doing his podcast." He's like, "Oh, he has a podcast," and so I was able to go and show him like a YouTube channel, and it looked like a fucking YouTube channel. And it was like me talking, and he was just like, "What the fuck?" And like, it's like a little kid, and I have like a 90-inch TV, so he's just like, "What the hell? Like, your face is on there." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy."
It's actual production. It's not just like some guy recording on his phone with like your mom's house, cool guy, like camera angle and shit.
Yeah, just just trying to do my best Andrew Tate impression or something.
Right up the nostrils, the ceiling fans and shit.
Yeah.
All right, that was a fun episode of The Fight Plug. Thank you once again, everybody. If you're still with us, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, ringing the bell so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And we will see you again in the next one. Have a good whatever.
Yeah.
Bye.